Welcome back to my channel Kuluru Vinith. So in the last video of this expense tracker app playlist, we completed the read database use cases. So now we'll continue the remaining use cases and trying to wind up the domain layer in this video. Okay, so let me create a new package called read data store. Okay, read data store. So in this, what and all we'll be having use cases are like in the settings screen, which I have shown is the like first get currency use case, expense limit, expense duration, and those things, right? So we will write those use cases in this package. So let me write first use case is get currency use case, right? Get currency use case, and write the constructor injection. So let me import this. Okay, one second. So okay, here I will inject the data store repository. Okay, and here we will call the invoke function. Here what will be the return type is string, flow of string. Okay, and this import. Fine. Now I will call the function in the data store repository, that is read currency from data store. Okay, yeah, I should make this as suspend. Fine. So this is get currency use case. Now the other use case is get expense limit use case, right? So I will write that get expense limit use case, and do same here, constructor injection, data store repository, and here everything itself suspend. So on invoke here, this is expense limit and the return type was the double, right? So flow of double, and we will call that respective function from the data store repository. Okay, so now we have written the get currency use case and get expense limit use case, and now next thing we have to write is the get limit duration use case, correct? So let me write that, get limit duration use case. Okay, and do same here, constructor injection, particular repository, that is data store repository, and call invoke function, and here return type would be int. Okay, what's wrong? One second. Flow of int, and I will return data store repository dot read expense limit, not limit duration from data store. So right, so get limit duration use case. So if we see here, yeah, so limit duration from use case. So we have written the currency use case, expense limit, limit duration, and then is limit key. Next is get limit key from data store, that use case. So I will write that get limit key use case. Okay, that is, was this enabled or not, that toggle button. So I will call same here. Okay, so here return type would be boolean, flow of boolean. So return data store repository, read limit key from data store. Okay, so there is one more thing, that is onboarding key. Like we'll try to get the value that whether user was onboarded or not. Okay, so for that also we'll write a use case, that is get onboarding key use case. So I will do constructor injection, data store repository, and invoke function. This would be, this is again a boolean. Okay, return data store repository, read onboarding key from data store. So these are the core read operations from data store repository. So we are done with read data store use cases as well. So now we'll go to the write operations, that is write data. Write, we'll go again create two more packages, write database and write data store, and write respective use cases in them as well. Okay, so let me create the write database package. Okay, so write database. So in this, what and all we'll be creating use cases is like insert a new transaction use case, erase transactions, and yeah, so those kind of transactions which write the data to the tables in the database, we will include those use cases here. So first I will write the erase transaction use case. Okay, erase transaction use case. Okay, so here let me do constructor injection, that is transaction repository. Okay, and this we will just call invoke function, and then we will return, no return values is there, right? So we'll just call that respective function, erase transaction. Okay, so simple, we just call that, since it's write operation there will be no return type, so we just called that respective erase transaction function in the transaction repository. Okay, now we will create one more use case, that is inserting accounts into the tables, that is cash account, card account, and bank account. Okay, those, that is use case we will write now. Okay, that is insert accounts use case. Okay, so same, carry out the constructor injection for respective repository. Okay, and do here invoke, your parameter will be there accounts, so that will be of list of account DTO. Okay, and we will just call that insert account, this one. So Okay, should, since it is right operation, we have to make this as a suspend function. Okay, so this is second use case in the write database. Now the last use case is the insert new transaction use case. That is, if user is adding a new transaction for particular day, so that we have to make a note of it somewhere in the database, right? So for that we'll create a one use case that is called insert new transaction use case. Okay, insert new transaction use case. Okay, so do the same constructor injection, private val, transaction repository. Okay, so here we should the input parameter would be the transaction DTO, right? So let me name that as the daily expense. And since it is a write operation, it has to be a suspend function, so they have to be carried out in the background threads. So here I will call insert transaction and daily expense. Okay, so these are the core use cases in the write database. That is, those are erase transaction use case, insert accounts use case, and insert new transaction use case. Now we will create one more package for write data store. So there we will include the all of use cases which results into writing of the values to the data store repository. Okay, so there I will create one more package called write data store. Okay, so here nothing but whatever we have written in the read data store, that is get currency use case, get expense limit, and get limit and all. Here we should write those things into those use cases in this package, that is write data store. So first I will write the use case is edit currency use case. Okay, that is we will keep note of what currency the user has selected. Okay, edit currency use case. So do constructor injection, private val, data store repository. So here we will call suspend function since we are writing. Here the input parameter will be the currency, that is a string. So let me name that as a currency, and here we will call that write currency to data store and call that function. Okay, so this is the edit currency use case, and then next would be edit expense limit use case. Okay, so I will write that edit expense limit use case. Okay, here same will carry out constructor injection, data store repository, and double. So now I'll call the respective repository function so that we can call that respective function in the data store repository. Okay, fine. So we have written the, just a second, we have written edit expense limit use case. So next is edit limit duration use case. So I will write that use case in this write data store, that is edit limit duration use case. Okay, fine. So here again I'll do the constructor injection and call that data store repository, and here we have to here operator overloading. So fun invoke, and here the input parameter would be duration. Okay, so and I will call that respective function in the data store repository, that is write limit duration use case and pass that duration parameter. Okay, so now we are done with edit limit duration use case. So next I will write the edit limit key use case. Okay, so let me write that. Okay, just a second. Okay, so I will write edit limit key use case. Okay, fine, and here I will do again the constructor injection and call that data store repository, and then call invoke, and here edit limit key use case will name parameters enabled, and this would be of type boolean. Okay, so here data store repository write limit key to dot data store, so then we'll pass that input parameter called enabled. Fine, so and one more now next we'll write is the edit onboarding key use case. Okay, fine, so let me write that, that is edit onboarding key use case, and for this also I will inject that data store repository. So and here call invoke function, and here the parameter would be is it completed or not, so it will be of type boolean. Okay, so then call that respective function in the data store repository, that is write onboarding key to data store and pass that completed parameter. Okay, and one more thing is we can also write the erase data store use case also in this write data store, since it involves the deletion which kind of comes into the write operation. So I will write that also here. Okay, so let me write that, that is erase, just a second, erase data store use case. Okay, so here I will do same injecting the data store repository, and here straight away call invoke, and then in that call that function in the data store repository. Okay, fine, so these are all the use cases that comes under the write data store. Well, we are almost done with the use cases, that is read database, read data store, and write database, write data store. But other than that we have three more use cases that we have to write, that is get currencies use case, and also the formatting of the date use cases. So first I will try to write the use case for the date formatting, so that is get formatted date use case. So let me write down that. Okay, so let me write in this here by creating a class called get date formatted use case. Okay, fine, so here one thing is I will make this as open class so that we can inherit in other classes and see if we can use this or not. So I'll make this as open class, and again I will do just write constructor injection, and then here first I will write the one function, that is get formatted date. Okay, in this we will input parameter would be of type date. Okay, so and return type would be string. So basically this is to get the in the format of day of the week, day and month abbreviation. Okay, so for example it is day of the week So you will see that how it is. So first I will write day of the week, day of week, that is date format dot, just a second, I think I imported wrong date format, so let me import this, just a second. So I will delete this, and also I will try to import again. Just give me a second. Fine. So here date format, so this one, and here we will format the date in the form of the day of the week, right? So here for getting that is this one. So this will give us the day of the week. And now we should also write the formatting to get the day as well. So for that I'll call the same date format, date again format. So here the format will be this one, okay, and pass this date. Similarly here we should get the month attribute, so I'll write for that as well, month attribute, that is date format dot format, and here the in format is this one, and pass that input date parameter. And finally what we'll do is we will return the day of week, comma, okay, this one, day, comma, and month attribute, okay. And finally this private function. So let's create one more open operator function. So there we can call this private function, and let's name this as the same invoke, because we can call with the use case name, and input parameter would be this, and return type would be string, okay. So here we will just return the get formatted date and pass the date input parameter, okay. So this is the get date formatted use case. Now we have one more use case for get date use case, okay. Now the use case which I have written is the get date formatted use case, and now we will write the get date use case. That is simple, so let me write that as well. Get date use case, and here also I'll make this class as the open class, and try to just write the constructor injection just for consistency sake. And here we will write the same private function, that is get date function. So here again return type would be of type string. So here straight away what I'll do is I will directly take a simple date format and have in this format, that is here month date, okay, and call the format function, and here I will call the date object type. So for that we have to here call the get calendar dot get instance dot time, okay. Sorry, this one second, I think the import type is not correct, so I will change this. So it has to be this, and this one also it's not correct, okay. And formatting, it should be small wise, okay, fine. Yeah, So this is the get date use case. And one more last use case that we have to write is the get currencies use case. That is, in the initial after onboarding pages we saw that user has the option to select the currencies, right? So we should show the list of all the countries and their currencies, and that we will be writing use case now, so that we can get the list of all countries and their currencies. Okay, so let me write that class, that is get currency use case. Okay, and here same, I will just write the constructor injection just, and also now we will write the invoke function, so that we can call with the help just directly with the name of the class. So here we will return the list of currency model, okay, which we have written already in the model section. So here I will directly write currencies. So I will create a mutable list of empty list of currency model, and another thing is countries. So here this one also I'll make this as the string, mutable list of a string. And one more thing is the all local. This one is I'll tell you what is this about. So here look at it at get available locals. So I will write here so here one second, we will define it as a locally, and here we'll get the country name directly by accessing the local dot display display country. Okay, and one second, display country. And now we will write try catch block and get the currency model by calling the currency dot get instance and pass that local and then currency code. And similarly do get the currency by calling the same currency dot get instance and then pass the currency code. Okay, here this is currency code. Okay, so and finally the currency symbol, so that we will get in this by calling currency dot get symbol and pass that local. Okay, and now we can currency model, here we will construct that object, that is currency model, by passing the country name, currency code and the currency symbol. Okay, and now if we will try to format, like if there is any trim space for the country name and all, so we will trim it, and then if also check if the countries dot contains the country name, not contains the country name, then we will push into that the above empty list we have created. So there I will push country's name and also the currencies, right? So currencies also I will push currency model. And finally in this catch block we will see if there is an exception, but we will not do. Okay, one second, we will not do anything, we will just leave empty block, and finally we will return that list of the currency model. Okay, that is currencies dot, I will sort it by what is this country. Okay, so yeah, so this is the get currency use case. So with this use case we are done with the domain layer. Okay, so we have written the read database, read data store, write database, write data store, get currency use case, get date formatted use case, and get date use case. So these are all the use cases required in the domain layer. So with this use case, we are done writing the part in the domain layer. So from next video onwards, we will continue writing the data layer. Okay, so thank you so much for your love and support. Keep watching my channel. There'll be a lot more exciting content coming up your way. Thank you.